Congressman Mark Takano, it's such nice of you on the weekend to reach out after this very unique delegation and you going to Israel and the Palestinian Territories and wanting to express your thoughts on the situation. And it's timely because Ramadan is starting. So again, thank you so much for reaching out. And as a friend of mine, I really appreciate this.
Mohammed, I appreciate this opportunity to speak to the thousands of people that you're in touch with. So I thank you for that opportunity. I did travel just within the last 2 weeks to Israel and the Palestinian Territories with the ranking member of the House Appropriations Committee, Rosa DeLauro, my colleagues, Madeline Dean, who's on Foreign Affairs, Sean Caston, who is on Financial Services, and Rebecca Ballin, who is a new member of Congress. We had a 6-member delegation, and we traveled to Israel and the Palestinian Territories in the West Bank. We were not far from the border of Gaza. In fact, we could hear cannon fire in Khan Yunis, which was some distance away, but we were close enough to hear cannon fire. But before I go any further, let me just say to everyone, my wishes for a happy Ramadan, Ramadan Mubarak. But I know our hearts are all heavy because the Muslim Palestinians and all Palestinians who are living in Gaza and the territories of the West Bank are facing extraordinary suffering and hunger. And that we must do more to meet the urgency of this situation. So I applaud President Biden's decision to work with the Jordanians to get food airdropped. Recently, 30,000 meals, but there are 2 million Gazans. Obviously, there's more than airdrops that need to be done. I urge him to consider options to move in more food and supplies through the ocean onto the beaches. But still, that won't be enough. More needs to be done. There needs to be a real plan and strategy to provide the kind of safety and security for food convoys and truck drivers to get that food into the other parts of Gaza. I urge that to happen. Among the individuals that the delegation met with were the officials at the United Nations Relief and Work Agency, otherwise known as UNRWA. We met with them at the UNRWA offices in Jerusalem, and we also had a chance to have a virtual meeting with Scott Anderson, who is the UNRWA coordinator in Rafah. People would be surprised to know that the lead coordinator at UNRWA on the ground is an American who served in the Army for 21 years. He's a 21-year military veteran. Scott impressed me as having an even-handed, fair assessment about the challenges of getting food and supplies into the different parts of Gaza. I believe that all of us need to pay more attention to voices such as Scott. Our delegation had concluded that we need to get more funding to UNRWA. It does have funding for this month and next month, thanks to other nations providing that funding. But we must get through these investigations that are occurring about the discrepancies over certain employees at UNRWA. If UNRWA is not going to be used, we need a real plan. If UNRWA won't be the distribution organization, We need to have a realistic plan about how we're going to get food in a sustainable way to Palestinians who are facing imminent starvation. Now, Mohammed, let me also say that the delegation came away with a very strong conviction that we need to think beyond this immediate and urgent crisis. Even though the crisis wants to suck up all of our attention, all of our emotions. And here's what I have to say about that. I was very disappointed to see that Prime Minister Netanyahu put forth a plan for Gaza, which was wholly inadequate. He does not envision a role for the Palestinian Authority. He basically says that Israel will be occupying Gaza for an indeterminate amount of time. This is contrary to what the President of the United States and the American government has said, should be done. And I believe anybody who is a reasonable observer would say that a prolonged and indeterminate occupation of Gaza by Israel is simply not sustainable, and it contributes to the decision-making in the present. So a lack of a sustainable vision for the future also has impacts on the kinds of decisions that must be made right now, here and today, in terms of how we're going to get a strategy, devise a strategy to get food and aid into Gaza. So let me also touch on another point, and I want to bring us back to Ramadan. Ramadan is just a few days away, March 10th. It's the holiest of months for Muslims throughout the world. And I am very worried about rising tensions and possible flashpoints of violence occurring in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. There's been a spike in violence that pre-existed October 7th. So settler violence pre-existed October 7th in the West Bank, but there was a spike after October 7th. It will do nobody any good to see chaos and violence erupt on the West Bank and in Jerusalem during the holy month of Ramadan, or for any time going forward. And so therefore I believe strongly that the community needs to pay attention to stopping the settler violence. We must end and stop settler violence and not allow it to continue, and not allow it to continue to contribute to a sense of volatility in the West Bank or East Jerusalem. And they're very much connected to the crisis in Gaza. I urge President Biden to do more, to take bold action. This is not a time to be timid or cautious. I believe that there is a way out to a sustainable peace, but it requires courage, boldness, and a willingness to speak even to our friends and allies in frank and with frankness and with tough love.
Well, Congressman, it's really appreciate you reaching out, because the community and people around the world are in pain to see what's going on. And for you to take the steps to go on a fact-finding mission and then alerting us, and it's very important, because we can't do anything. You're our voice, and you have more access to the administration. So I focus very heavily on humanitarian approach to these conflicts, and you highlighted all the different phases: the humanitarian, the human rights, the and the conflict resolution, the end game as far as peace. So I just want to thank you so much, and before Ramadan, and encourage you to use whatever influence you can, so all human beings can feel safe.
Well, I thank you for that. In closing, let me just say that I'll disagree with you slightly. We working together, the people and the representatives, need to create the political space for boldness. And I just also, I wanted to mention earlier, with respect to reducing tensions in the West Bank, that President Biden and the Biden administration have taken some very important steps that might have been missed. One is visa restrictions on those that are engaged, those settlers that are engaged in violence against Palestinians. Financial sanctions, very powerful tool that can be used. And finally, a reiteration, a reassertion that settlements on the West Bank are inconsistent with international law. I believe pressing on all three of these points will help reduce tensions, and it won't be just leaders such as myself. It will also be the awareness of the wider community about the kinds of tools that can be used, and we need to encourage and also acknowledge the tools that President Biden has brought to bear and his administration, and we can encourage them to press in on the use of those tools.
Well, thank you so much, Congressman. Really appreciate you reaching out, and it means a lot to us in the community, it really does.
Well, again, Ramadan Mubarak. Happy Ramadan to everybody.
And as we say, Ramadan Kareem, and we look forward to you breaking fast with us.
Look forward to it. Always enjoy a wonderful meal.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.